Good evening, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. This is Rich again, back for your third and final video blog of the night for Friday, November 14, 2014, around 8:11 p.m. in Billerica, Massachusetts. It's about freezing right now, cold, and it's going to be cold for the next several days. Some news to report. The Pittsburgh Pirates have signed pitcher A.J. Burnett to a one-year contract worth $8.25 million. And also the NCAA has announced the locations of the Final Four championships from 2017 to 2021. 2017 is going to be in Glendale, Arizona at the University of Phoenix Stadium. 2018, San Antonio, Texas at the Alamo Dome. 2019 at Minnesota, the new Viking Stadium that is going to have a retractable roof. 2020 in Atlanta, the new Falcon Stadium with a retractable roof. In 2021 in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Field. And that's about it on the news. My third and final video subject of the night is the personality profile. And my personality profile tonight is about Sandy Koufax. Sandy Koufax was one of the most famous baseball pitchers of all time. He pitched for the Brooklyn/Los Angeles Dodgers for 12 years. He had a very short career. He had to retire at the age of 30 because he had arthritis in his pitching elbow. But he had an amazing 5-year stretch of pitching performance that was so dominant that got him into the Hall of Fame. Sandy Koufax, was real name is Sanford. His nickname is Sandy. He was born and he grew up in Brooklyn, New York. He was of Jewish descent. And he played baseball and basketball in high school. He was such a good basketball player, Sandy Koufax. In fact, he got a partial scholarship to the University of Cincinnati. And he walked on as a freshman. He played on the freshman team for basketball because back then freshmen could not play for the varsity for the NCAA teams, for the college teams back then. And he also played for the University of Cincinnati baseball team as well for one season, and he was pretty good. He had like a 3-1 record. He had a good ERA. He struck out a lot, and there were a lot of pro scouts looking at him, and he had a great fastball and stuff, and a couple of scouts looked at him, the New York Giants, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Brooklyn Dodgers. The Brooklyn Dodgers signed him in 1955 at a base salary of $6,000, but he got a signing bonus of $14,000. That was amazing for that time. 1955. He used part of that money for college tuition because he dropped out of University of Cincinnati. He used that towards tuition to go back to school when he wasn't playing in the off season, just in case the baseball thing didn't work out. And part of that thing with the signing bonus, he could not get sent down to the minor leagues by the Brooklyn Dodgers for 2 years. And he never spent a day in the minors, Sandy Koufax. In order to make room for him on the roster, the Brooklyn Dodgers had to send pitcher Tommy Lasorda to AAA. Tommy Lasorda became a Hall of Fame manager, but that's an interesting fact. Sandy Koufax replaced Tommy Lasorda on the Brooklyn Dodgers roster, and he made his debut on June 24th, 1955. For the first 6 years of Sandy Koufax, 7 years of Sandy Koufax's career, he was a kind of a pitcher that was a mediocre pitcher. He shuffled between the bullpen and the starting rotation for the Brooklyn/Los Angeles Dodgers. He was mainly a 500 pitcher at best, and he was not that consistent and stuff. He actually was studying to become like electrician during the off season. In fact, he used some of his money to invest in an electronic business. And in 1960, he thought about quitting baseball for good. he thought about quitting baseball for good, but he decided to give baseball one more try from 1961 to 1966, a 6-year stretch. Sandy Koufax had one of the best pitching stretches of all time. This got him amazing stuff. He was a dominating pitcher 7 times. He was in the All-Star game. He won 3 Cy Young awards. This is one at the time where baseball only gave 1 Cy Young award, either an American League or National League pitcher. They did not give it to both the American League and National League pitchers to 1967. Sandy Koufax won 3 of them. He won 20 games on a consistent basis during the stretch. He struck out a lot of batters. He set a record for most strikeouts in a season, 382 in 1965. He pitched 4 no-hitters, including 1 perfect game in 1965. 2 times he was the World Series MVP in 1963 and 1965. And the 1965 World Series was very remarkable. He was supposed to pitch Game 1 against the Minnesota Twins, but he skipped that turn because the Game 1 of the 1965 World Series fell on Yo Capom, and Sandy Koufax was Jewish, and he didn't pitch that day because he sat it out to observe Yo Capom. You got to congratulate him for that, for his religious things. Got to congratulate him on that. And Tommy and Sandy Koufax, career record, 165 wins, 87 losses, 2.76 ERA, 2,396 strikeouts, 137 complete games, and 40 shutouts. 3 times he won the triple crown of pitching, wins, strikeouts, and ERA. He was forced to retire, Sandy Koufax, at the end of the 1966 season because of an athletic elbow, which, at the age of 30, if Sandy Koufax did not have that afflicted elbow, he would have probably pitched several more years of dominance. His career stats were probably, if he pitched maybe another 10 years, he probably would have had well over 300 games. He probably would have maybe had close to 300 complete games, and I bet he would have probably had maybe close to 5,000 strikeouts and probably 80 or 90 shutouts and stuff, and he probably would have been one of the greatest pitchers of all time. But that was a tough break for Sandy Koufax. 1967, Sandy Koufax signed with NBC Sports to become a color man for the NBC Baseball Game of the Week, and he was a decent broadcaster, and he signed a big contract, $100,000 a year, and he was decent at it, but he quit it in 1973. Sandy Koufax was the first ballot Baseball Hall of Fame in 1972, one of the youngest Hall of Fame inductees of all time, only at the age of 36, and Sandy Koufax's number 32 was retired by the Los Angeles Dodgers. He's been with the organization on and off, special assistant to the general manager's goodwill ambassador and stuff. And probably Sandy Koufax is one of the most famous pitchers of his generation, and he's one of the most famous Jewish American athletes of all time, Sandy Koufax. And that's about it on him. And I've loved doing these video blogs, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. And 3 more video vlogs are coming tomorrow. The ones that are coming tomorrow is the top 10 greatest New York Mets pitchers of all time. The second one will be about the classic television series The Rockford Files. And the third and final video blog of the night is going to be a personality profile. It's going to be about Tom Bergeron. And I'm diversing myself on stuff all the time on here. Maybe there'll be some days of sports, some days of entertainment, some days of the world of professional wrestling, old school stories, anything. I'm just diversing it because I don't want to talk about the same general subject for maybe 10, 15, 20 straight days in a row. That's not going to happen because I don't want to be boring people with the same general topic over and over again, because I love to tell these video blogs and stuff, and I get real they get real interesting. People are continuing to like this. I'll continue to do it as long as people continue to enjoy it and like it and stuff like that. Have a good night, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. See you tomorrow.